Hey guys, it's Talon. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a quick Varus guide. I'm not going to go super in depth here. I have plenty of other Varus videos on my channel, but I want to give a quick rundown of his abilities, how to play him in the mid to late game, as well as the early game. And yeah, so if you guys don't know who I am, I've been rank 1 Varus a couple times. As you can see here, 744 games played, 58.7% win rate. So I definitely think that I'm pretty good at this champion, so I thought I'd give you guys a quick guide on just how the champion works and some basic tips and tricks on him. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. Okay guys, so now I'm going to talk about the build on Varus, and I have a more in-depth video on Varus builds that I'll link in the description if you want a full explanation, but the short explanation is that I think the best build is Lethality, which is this build, and the only switches you're going to make to this build is that you're sometimes going to switch Cyrilda's Grudge for Mortal Reminder if they have a lot of healing, but typically you're going to go for Cyrilda's Grudge, and then you can switch Edge of Night or Duskblade for Guardian Angel if they have a lot of AD assassins on their team. Apart from that, there's a couple other small changes, but again, I talk about that more in my build guide video, so you can watch that if you want the full explanation there. And then for the runes, you always on Lethality will go Aryan Scorch, because that's what makes your laning so OP. Additionally, you go Nullifying Orb. You can switch that up to Bone Plating or Hunter Titan if you want, or Adaptive, but typically I go for Nullifying Orb. And then you always want Mana Flow because you do struggle with mana in the early game. And then you're always going to go Flash Exhaust for your runes. So that's about it for the build. Again, you can go watch my full video if you want an exact explanation on all the different types of Varus builds. But yeah, that's it for now. Okay guys, so now I'm going to talk about Varus's abilities. So I'll just do this really quickly. So the first ability just simply is an arrow. You drag it. The longer you drag it, the more damage it deals, and it can pierce through multiple enemies. Your second ability has a passive, which makes your auto attacks do slightly more damage, and also applies these stacks to people, which are these orbs you see around this character here. And you can pop these orbs with any ability, and it will deal bonus magic damage. Now the active ability, when you actually click your second ability, makes it so that your first ability does more damage, and it's based on percentage health of your opponent. And additionally, it will make it so that popping the stacks does more damage when you use your first ability. Your third ability is a volley of arrows, which again can pop the stacks, and also applies grievous wounds to anyone in that circle area that you saw there. Again, the circle right here. Grievous wounds, meaning that they will heal for less if they are in that. Lastly is your ultimate, which is a root, and then spreads the root to other people in that circle area that you saw there. Additionally, your ult applies the same stacks to people, which you can again pop by simply using your arrow. One other important thing to note is that when you pop the stacks with your third ability, however many stacks there are, it doesn't matter, you will actually reduce the cooldown of your first ability by 4 seconds. So anytime you pop stacks with your first ability, you reduce the cooldown by 4 seconds, which is why you build a lot of cooldown reduction, so that later on in the game your ult or your first ability will come back very often. Lastly is your passive, which I'll talk about here. Basically, anytime you get an assist or a kill on anyone, your attack speed is increased. This includes minions and monsters and anything of that sort. It, however, does increase by more if you are killing or assisting a takedown on an actual person. And so now I'll talk about the main burst combo that you can do with people. And so that would be getting 3 stacks on people is the max damage you can do. Then you pop those with your ult, you walk backwards, and the ult will apply more stacks, so then you can arrow. And that's going to deal at least 50%, if not more, of anyone's HP. And that's the fastest way to get a ton of damage on people. Now, of course, sometimes you're not going to be able to have enough time to do that. So instead, you'll just simply ult someone, walk back, and then throw your arrow plus third ability on someone. And also make sure that whenever you do arrow on someone who has stacks on them, you want to use your second ability as well, because that will again give you more damage. Okay, now let's get into the rest of the video. Okay guys, now I'm going to talk about lane matchups for Varus, and not just lane matchups, but also just matchups in general. So I'll start with the champions that Varus does best into. So typically you want to pick Varus into a good early game ADC, specifically Caitlyn, Draven, Lucian, because you're very good at stopping those early game champs from really getting going, and you still scale similarly to those champions. So you're basically just going to want to continue to poke those champions down, and they're going to try to get auto attacks on you, but they're not going to be able to because you can outrange them and poke them down before they can really get very aggressive on you. So basically any aggressive ADC is when you're the best. Some of the hardest matchups for you are more about the support. So when you have a bad support in lanes such as a Yuumi, such as a Lulu, stuff like that, and then the enemy has a really aggressive support like a Thresh or Nautilus, comboed with an ADC who has a lot of burst damage such as Draven, Lucian, stuff like that, that is when you're going to struggle. So typically, obviously, you're very good against Lucian and Draven and those types of champs, but if your support is a very weak early lane support, while theirs is a very strong laning support, again, like a Thresh or a Nautilus, then you're going to struggle a bit in lane. But apart from those types of matchups, Varus is generally a very consistent pick, and you can pick him into almost any matchup, and you can do pretty well if you play it properly. So now if we're talking about more the entirety of the map, some of the biggest counters to Varus are Olaf for sure, because of the fact that he can stop your ultimate and he can just run you down and get close to you, which is what Varus doesn't want. He doesn't want people who can get close onto him. Other champions like Zed and Yone, who can dive on you very easily, are also quite difficult, but you can stop those champions by just positioning well and by buying items like Stasis to protect yourself. And then other champions like Braum or Yasuo can both block your ultimate or your arrow with their abilities, like the Wind Wall from Yasuo or the Shield from Braum. And then lastly, supports that heal a lot could sometimes be difficult to play against because they'll heal up your poke. However, you can stop this by simply just going and targeting that healing support first. But stuff like Soraka, like Nami, like Yuumi can be difficult in certain situations as well. And so that's about it for the matchups. Of course, you know, again, typically into very aggressive ADCs you do well, and into champions that can block you, your abilities, or that can run on top of you, you typically will struggle more. Okay, so now I'm going to go over a quick laning example on Varus. So basically all I'm really thinking in lane is just simply to try to poke down my enemies as low as possible until my support's able to make an engage, or until they're low enough where I know I have them in kill range, and then I start going up more. So you don't really want to auto attack much as Varus in lane. You're mostly focusing on getting that poke down with the Aryan Scorch runes, because that just makes your damage incredibly high. Due to the fact that Varus has low auto range and also doesn't do a ton of damage or have anything that boosts his auto damage, you don't really want to be autoing until you get them lower. So that the only time you're autoing is to auto to get them low enough so that you can arrow them and kill them. As you can see here, I haven't actually autoed them at all, but I've still gotten Lulu a bit low, and I want to keep poking out the same member of the enemy team. That way I can get them again in execute range, because it's all about getting them low enough to execute them with your second ability plus arrow combo. So I just keep poking out the Lulu, getting her low, waiting for some type of engage from my support, and until then I'm just focusing on poking. And as soon as my support goes in, I'm just going to walk up, and then I can auto attack them there. And because I already got them a bit low, it makes it easier to kill them both, and simply just going to kill them both here really easily due to the fact that we poked them down, and then I just wait for my support to make a good engage. So that's really just what you want to do in every lane: poke people down, be patient, wait for your support to do something, and they'll probably be low enough to kill them, since you just, you know, have so much insane poke in the early game as Varus. Okay guys, so now I'm going to talk about team fighting on Varus. And team fighting is a lot different on Varus than most ADCs, because a lot of your job is actually before the fight even starts. So you can see here, I'm really just focusing on poking people out. I get an arrow on someone there. I throw my E on someone there. I'm just trying to poke people out as much as possible. Zed, I see, I get him low. Now Zed's basically not a champion. And before the fight even starts, we just end up poking them so low that they don't even ever really get to participate in the fight, because they're just running away because we got them so low. I get a nice snipe on Tristana there, and the fight's already over due to the fact that we just poked them out before it even starts. That's really all you have to do on Varus a lot of times, is just focus on poking people down before the fight starts and making sure you're positioning safe enough so nobody can jump on you, and then you're just going to win easy fights like this one. Okay, so this next clip is basically going to show how to use your ultimate. So usually you just want to use your ultimate and then kite people back and just start to arrow, because it's going to apply stacks to them. So you can see here, a lot of them are grouped up, so I just throw an ult. It ends up spreading to people. I walk back because I'm not worried about autoing, and then I just shoot an arrow. It does an insane amount of damage when I use my W comboed with it. And then they're forced to come onto me when they're low HP, which means my teammates are easily just able to peel for me. And then you're going to watch here as well. I see someone's low. I know they're probably going to try to back. So watch this sneaky play I do here to get a free kill on them. I blast cone over the wall, I arrow, I try to predict where she is, and boom, I get the Lulu. So basically there, it's just ultimate usage, simply just baiting them into your ult so then they're all grouped together, walking back, using your second ability, comboed with your arrow, and you're going to get anyone to about half HP or lower just from that simple play. Okay, so this is going to be a short clip basically showing you how to bait people. So when you know that there's a low HP member on the team and they have vision of you, you typically want to try to pretend like you're going to arrow someone else and then quickly drag it to the member that you know is low enough for you to kill with the arrow. So you can see here, I pretend like I'm going to shoot the Yasuo, then I drag it to the Lulu, and I easily get the kill on Lulu because she doesn't try to dodge since she does not know that I'm actually trying to target her. That's a very simple, short thing that's important to know as well in Varus. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, it was just a simple Varus guide, just trying to give you some of the basic, tips and tricks on Varus, how to build them, all that type of stuff. So if you want, any other types of videos on Varus or other champions in the future, please let me know, if you like it, comment, do that type of thing. It really helps me understand what type of videos you guys want to see in the future. And that's going to be about it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.